Female Finance Collective, where we encourage women to have open and honest conversations about all things money. On today's episode, we're going to be chatting about our individual money stories. And for today, we're going to be focusing on Sybil and asking her a couple of questions about her finances and what her money story looks like. So welcome, Sybil.
Thank you. I'm excited to talk today about my money story.
Okay, great. So let's start from, I guess, the beginning and think about your childhood. I'd love it if you'd share what money was like for you growing up.
Yeah, thanks for asking. So my mom was a teacher and she was a single mom for a while. So we lived a pretty simple lifestyle with her working hard in the classroom and raising the kids. And then my stepdad came into the picture, and he was the CEO of a medical group, and I could feel the difference. Money started coming into the home a bit more. We got to do a few vacations. But one money story I really remember is because my parents didn't really talk about money very much. I felt like money was tight before my stepdad came into the picture, and then once he did, we still didn't talk about it a lot. But one story I remember is getting the newspaper. Yes, we used to look at the newspaper. And the stock market would be, the results of the stock market from the day prior would be in the newspaper. And my stepdad was into investing a little bit. And so he let me and my brothers and sisters pick a couple stocks and invest in them through him. And I don't think he actually invested in them. I think he kind of just ran a thing on the side where, but I don't really know. I should ask him. But ran a thing on the side where we just kind of kept it on paper. And so I remember choosing Disney because that was, something I loved as a kid. And that taught me right from the beginning to invest in what you love, which is pretty cool. I didn't make that connection till just now. But I remember investing in Disney and kind of keeping track of that. And that was exciting and fun. And it kind of gave me that inspiration to be able to possibly someday have enough money to really invest in the stock market myself. But other than that, I don't have a lot of money stories. My family just really didn't talk about it. It was kind of taboo. I mean, exactly the reason we're here in the collective talking about money, because a lot of us, I think, are raised like I was, where we just didn't talk about it much. But I'm so thankful that my stepdad did that little thing with us, because it was a lot of fun and really got me thinking about money at a young age.
I think that's great. I've done that with my kids, and they love the stock market. They love looking at stocks that are related to what they enjoy. So they're both of my boys love gaming. And so anything related to gaming, they're just so excited about. So that's great that you got that exposure as a child to look at investing. Do you remember when you were able to actually buy your first stock or make your first investment?
Yeah, so I didn't do that for quite a while, because when I was early in my teaching career, I just signed up with the investment guy that came into the lounge at lunch hour and said, "Okay, how much money should I give?" I was very conservative. I was only working part-time for most of that time anyway. I was home with the kids. So I didn't have a lot of extra money, but I did start investing. But I had no connection to it. I had no idea. And so it wasn't until 2013, maybe, that when I moved to Shanghai, China, and started making more money, I went full time, and the salary there was much higher at my international school, that I read Andrew Helm's book, A Millionaire Teacher, and I was like, oh, this is what my stepdad did so long ago. And so I first invested in index funds per his advice with a 30-30-30 allocation, but then I decided I could play with 10% of my money and kind of invest in some of those fun individual stocks. So that was really the first time. And I was 30 something years old before I made that plunge. And it's funny you say you like to invest with your kids too, Marilee, because I do the same. but I actually invest in the stock market at whatever stock they want for what price they want. And my son, like, he loves things like NVIDIA and like the high tech stuff. And then my deal with them is that they can sell at any time for whatever price it is at that time. I don't end up selling it. I hold on to it, but I'll pay out. And it was really cool because my son really needed a new, what's it called, a graphics card for his PC, for his gaming. And he decided that he didn't have the money. He decided it was worth it to sell a stock that had raised significantly. And it was just really great because he at one point asked, can I borrow the money? And I was like, well, getting in debt is maybe not the way you want to go. You don't have a job. How are you going to pay that back? It's going to take you X amount of time. And by then you're going to need who knows what for your PC, right? And so it was cool to see him be like, can I sell a stock? Well, let's check out what you have and how they've grown. And so I think it's such a good opportunity for kids if that's a possibility for you to do. Or even like my stepdad did it just kind of on the side with his own money, didn't actually invest in it, just to get that idea of investing in the stock market.
It's fun. I love that. It is like, you guys have used the term like gamifying your finances, and it's kind of like that, except you're learning with real money. And it's great practice because I think a lot of people are afraid of the stock market. Like, I've had friends say to me, how do you buy stocks? Like, I'm so scared. And I was like, well, I was kind of nervous too the first time. I just tried like little bits at a time. So knowing that, like, you kind of gave us a lot of insight into a little bit in your money story, but kind of the money story you're building for your kids. So do you have any specific money goals or financial goals that you're working on right now?
Yeah, so right now we're really at a turning point. My daughter's going to college next year, my oldest, which is just, I can't believe it. And that's going to be a significant cost here in the United States, very significant. So our money goals right now are focused around that. So our expenses are going up a lot starting in August. And so we've been working for kind of the last year on figuring out a plan, how to move forward and be able to afford that. So one big piece is scholarships. And so we're working to get at least $10,000 in scholarships for her. And again, I'm gamifying it for her because she has to do the work of the essays. She's had to do the work of keeping up a high grade point average. And so we're giving her 10% of everything she wins, right? And so she's already won a merit scholarship from the University of Colorado Boulder. So she got some money already. She got $200, which was like, okay, I can do this. This is a way that I can make money too. And she really understands it's important for us too, because we've raised her talking about money. We've raised her and them talking about, we want you to go to college. We're going to do everything we can to get you there and pay for as much as we can. But it's going to be hard, and we're going to have to make some significant changes. So another thing we're trying to figure out is we're renting our home right now, and our rent is quite high, and it's been lovely. We love this place. Don't regret it at all. But with her leaving the house and our expenses going up, we're looking to save money in our rent, either by buying a place and kind of house hacking and renting out the basement, or just finding a rental that's farther away, that's a little bit smaller. So cutting our expenses in the fastest way possible. And the most expensive thing we do is live, right? Our house, our shelter. It's our, beside next is cars, right? Like, those are our biggest things. So we're looking to save $750 a month on our rent or mortgage starting in August. And that money will go directly to her living and her tuition. So those are two pretty big things. So like trying to earn more money through scholarships, it's work, but it's income, right? To pay for her tuition. And then how can we cut our living expenses dramatically, quickly is, our second piece of our money goals right now. So it feels really good to like be focused on those two things. Like, we're really scheming and planning. We go on our daily walks, my husband and I, and it's like, we could do this or we could do this. So, what would we need the house to be like to buy? What would we need, the opportunity to be like to keep renting, but further away? So yeah, those are really the two things that we're focused on right now with our money goals.
I love how you're looking at both sides of the equation. Like you're looking at the increasing the income and then also cutting down an expense. And for most of us, housing is the big one. And sometimes when you can do something to reduce one of your like big three expenses, that can be very powerful for getting to your financial goals faster. So I love how you're looking at both sides of that.
Yeah, thanks.
I guess, and when it comes to money, what do you value? Like, what do you value about money or where you spend money? Like, what are your thoughts around that?
Yeah, I really value lifestyle choices. So to me, I really value being able to travel. I really value being able to send my daughter to college where she wants to go. Yes, we set parameters of you're going to need to stay in state. Yes, we moved home to make sure that we could have in-state tuition, things like that. I'm a big family person and I'm a big experience person. And so to me, it's easy now to not spend on the little things or the things that won't end up making me happier, like upgrading my phone, for example. My iPhone is the iPhone 10. The battery's terrible, right? And sometimes I'm like, I just need a new phone. But then I'm like, no, Sybil, you got bigger goals than that. You got to get 10,000 in scholarships. You got to figure out how to move. We're going to Mexico for spring break. It's the last trip with our daughter living at home, right? Not that we're not going to do more family vacations, but this is a monumental year, our senior year. So making sure we had enough in our budget to go to Puerto Vallarta here in a couple of weeks. Like, I really value spending money on my lifestyle, and I've seen the world, and I've only been able to do that because I've been able to balance and manage my money with a lot of work of building my financial literacy. But it becomes so rewarding and so motivating that if you can just like get started, I find it's like, I can do this. This is awesome. Like, I can go on vacations. I can send my daughter to where she wants to go, etc.
I think that is a really good point. Once you start like setting a goal and you see it starting to happen, it makes it so much easier to make those choices, right? To sacrifice one thing when you know that the money is directing to something that you really value. So I want to kind of piggyback on that, like keep the ball rolling in the same sort of direction. So what role would you say money plays in your overall like happiness or your well-being, or the kind of, I guess also that kind of ties in with your family too?
Yeah. You know what? It's actually a very big part of my life. I think financial well-being is so important, and we don't realize how stressful money can be. And maybe it's almost too much. Sometimes I have to stop myself because my daughter will, come home and she spent $13 eating out every day of her own money. But it's like, oh, is it shared anything I'm saying, right? And then I'm like, Sybil, keep it inside. It's okay. You felt it. You experienced it. She needs to experience what she wants to experience. She's, had a job. You were there too, or you ate out every day in high school. Oh my gosh, that's crazy. But so, yeah, I would really say like it's a big part. Financial well-being has become a really important part of my life story. It's in my book, Burn Bright, Not Out. I truly believe like we need to become financially well, and whatever that means to you, right? All three of us on this call have a different definition and dreams of financial well-being and that. But I really do highly value, because I've seen the impact it could make. I could never imagine as a teacher being a millionaire teacher. And here I am, I've left the school. I've been able to live my dreams. I'm working towards partial retirement at this point, early partial retirement. So it is possible when you do focus on it. My kind of mantra is like, to myself is try to spend 60 minutes a week on my own things. So whether it's taxes, I've got some bills here. I'm just kind of lining them up, waiting to pay for them. But every week I need to spend at least 60 minutes doing some kind of work or with my money. And that works well for me because then I know it's going to happen on Friday. Friday afternoon is a time I like because I'm so tired and I don't want to do anything. So I kind of often do it on Friday afternoons and I don't have to worry about it. I can feel well all week because I know I have this slot of time when I'm going to take care of my bills, start getting taxes stuff together, right? So I kind of manage it in that way.
That's funny because Friday afternoons are one of the times that I tend to look at my financial stuff too. And I have a similar routine where I try to do something every week. So I check on transactions every couple of days, but then once a week, it's doing, those tasks that kind of build up or learning about something or working on a goal. So that's great that you're doing that because it's amazing how you learn like over a year how much more knowledge you pick up and how your financial goals get bigger and they change. And it's impossible to see that when you start, but it's, over the years, it's really, really amazing. If you had to pick one thing, what would be your favorite thing to spend money
on? That's a tough one. But I guess maybe it's not that tough because it would be travel. It's, traveling, I've been so fortunate to live in 4 different countries abroad and travel a lot of the world. And travel can cost a lot or it can cost a little, right? You can budget travel and you can go far and wide budget traveling with a backpack on trains, night trains and sleeping in hostels. I mean, that's what we did before kids, right? And it can be crazy pricey. You can stay in 5-star hotels. You can, do all the things, the hot air balloon ride. There is so much you can spend money on when you're traveling. And so for me, like my favorite thing definitely to spend money on traveling. But I get this super excited feeling when I find the best travel deal for I hit the luxury at a low price. Ooh, I just love it. So I kind of think I'd love to be a travel agent, but really I wouldn't. I just like to be a travel agent for myself. I just love finding that awesome Airbnb at this really good value the location matters so much. So I've learned a lot about traveling. And, if you're traveling, when we went to Egypt, for example, we needed to stay at that 5-star hotel and we needed to have a driver with us all the time for our safety and for to be able to actually see and do what we want to do. So I've really learned how to spend more money on certain travels and spend less money and other opportunities too. Another part of my strategy is we have a short-term rental, a condo up in the mountains of Colorado. And another part of my strategy that we're thinking about if we purchase again is how do you purchase property somewhere that you love yourself? Kind of like the stock market, buying things that you love yourself, right? And so we travel to our condo in the mountains for free because our renters are paying for it. So that's another way to kind of think about investments. We like to think, like I said earlier, about lifestyle. So would we want to own something in the mountains? Yes. Do we have to rent it out most of the time? Is that our priority? It's an investment first? Yes. And off season, things like that, we get to enjoy it ourselves. And so we've built in travel to our investment in that way. And we're trying to figure out how to do that again, kind of replicate that situation again, maybe somewhere else in the world, buying a property and renting it out as an investment first, and then being able to use it ourselves as well. So it's a little bit of a travel hack possibility you can think about too.
I've seen that a lot. I live near Toronto, and in Canada, we have very expensive real estate. And a lot of people struggle to get their first home, so they'll buy a secondary property instead, like a vacation, like a chalet or a cottage, and that's their way to have a property, to own something, to be able to use it from time to time, but also get, the benefit of being able to travel. So that's a great hack that you're working towards.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially if there's somewhere that you really love to go all the time, like it makes it so easy. All right, we're going to wrap it up with one more question. So what is your favorite book or resource about money or finances that you can share with us?
Yeah, my favorite books are by Andrew Hallam. He changed the game for me. Andrew Hallam, his newest book is Balance, which is really down my alley of financial well-being and that lifestyle of making your money work for you so you can live the life you want to live. But really, his first book, Millionaire Teacher, is what turned me on to investing and realizing I too, as a teacher, can build wealth. I can learn how to do this myself. And if you are overseas and listening to this, he has the Expat Millionaire, which helps people who are living overseas invest in a variety of ways, either in their home country or the country they're living in, the host country, or in the United States stock market as well. So Andrew Hallam is amazing. He does talks. He was a teacher himself and has retired early, and he's just amazing. So I love all of his books. Highly, highly recommend checking out his books, even if you're not a teacher. They are so good. Really just help you step by step learn how to invest in the stock market and begin on this journey. His big thing is the stock market for sure.
Well, thank you so much for sharing all of your insight and stories and history and like your thinking and your priorities. Like, I think it's so interesting to hear everybody's take on things and their perspective. I think sometimes it helps us understand our own because it makes us think about like how we might answer that question or where our priorities lie. So I think it's really important for us to continue to share our stories. And then I'm really excited for us to also have other people on who can share their stories with us as well as part of this Money Story series. I think it's going to be really fun to hear everybody's perspective. So thank you so much. I really appreciate all that you shared with us today.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thank you. It's a fun conversation.